Hi, welcome back. As promised, we're going to talk now about the metal space. Remember, trade tensions continue between the United States and China. Base metal prices have taken a big hit in the domestic market. So what's happening now and what's the way forward? TK Chand, the Chairman and Managing Director of NALCO, joins us to talk about that. Mr. Chand, thanks so much for joining us. I first want to ask you about aluminum prices because at this point, it's at sub $1,800 a ton. There has been quite a bit of dip as far as prices are concerned. Do you expect any recovery anytime soon? And what is your own estimate, say, over the next 3 to 6 months in terms of price movement?
Yeah, but this aluminum prices have started coming down from the mid of the last year, and it is continuing and it has become more intense. In fact, it has gone as below as 1750, and as you know that metal market is cyclic. While there will be big cycles are there consisting of 4 to 5 years, but there are also mini cycles where from within 2 years, from half of 1 year, if it starts declining next year's half, then in the latter part it starts moving up. So we are expecting that in the latter part of this year there will be some recovery. And as such, aluminium market now, global market is deficit. But because of these trade tensions, etc., that's why this market sentiment is negative and the morale is low and prices are coming down. We are expecting that these prices will recover in the second half. And as such, aluminium demands are likely to pick up in USA and also in European countries, particularly Germany. And in India, a strong and stable government which has come, we are expecting that a lot of investment decision will be taken that will also push up the demand. Overall, the demand pickup will start in the second half and the prices are likely to pick up from then onwards.
So second half recovery is perhaps what we need to watch out for. That's on aluminium, Mr. Chand. What about alumina? Because here, Aluminum restarted their refinery, then prices came down quite a bit. Is there a halt to that decline? Are you expecting a recovery in alumina prices as well?
Alumina prices from last year, average alumina prices was around $470 per ton. And this year it has come down to 360 to 370. And we are expecting that hence this aluminum prices and alumina prices also will be recovering. Because though alumina market will be little surplus by 7 lakh ton in the year, but because of the demand pickup in Middle East and in other countries, we are expecting that gradually it will be picking up alumina prices and maybe it will be moving to somewhere around 380 to 450 dollar. That will be the maximum. Within that range that may move.
Okay. In terms of demand, have the trade tensions between US and China impacted demand in the industry? If yes, by how much? And in the domestic market, what kind of growth do you see in FY20 in terms of volumes?
US trade action has created a lot of uncertainties in international market and negative market sentiment, market morale is low. And if we see the domestic market last year sales, there has been a drop in sales, around 0.5% drop is there, whereas previous year there was a growth of 7%. So to that extent, domestic market sales have been affected. And we are expecting that this over a period it will smoothen out once the demand pickup is there. But at the same time, because of this trade tension, Chinese goods they are finding way to India, and last year itself, the import from China has increased by 59%, and ratio between domestic sales and consumption, that has increased from 53% to 58%. So therefore, there has been a strong impact as far as sales are concerned in domestic market.
Okay, so just some numbers, sir, now. You've already given us a number on the recovery in prices in alumina that you're saying could go back to $380 to $450. What about aluminium prices, which fell to as low as $1750, you just told us? The second half recovery should take them to about what level? And also, please do share your FY20 sales and production targets with us, sir.
Aluminium prices, we are expecting that it may move between 1800 to 1900, and because right now the aluminium prices are at rock bottom, it cannot remain at that level because almost all smelters would then die out. So it will definitely improve, and 1800 to 1900 will be the range within which it will be moving. And coming to our production target, we are keeping the target of aluminium production at the same level of that of the last year, that is 4.4 lakh. And in case the market picks up well, then we will be increasing it to 4.6 lakhs, which is the capacity. And alumina production, we are increasing little from 21.5 lakh, we will make it 21.6 because 21 is the normative capacity. We are already operating beyond the capacity and we will increase a little.
All right, Mr. Chan, thanks a lot for your time today. That's NALCO, stock up a bit in trade today. We have our technical experts now joining us once again. The market's actually recovering quite a bit on the mid-cap side. This is very interesting. Look at the mid-cap index. That actually started the recovery first. The Nifty and the Bank Nifty is still down quite a bit, but there's significant recovery happening in the broader market right now. And there are a couple of stocks like Motherson Sumi, Godfrey Phillips, which are making highs of the morning. Tata Power, GAIL has also moved higher. That, of course, among the large caps. But there's a bit of a recovery on right now in the broader market. Ashwini, good morning again. Your thoughts on the first hour of trade and what would be your stock calls now?
See, the first hour has been weak. I mean, Bank Nifty still is down 150. Plus, you know, these private banks, ICICI Bank, Kotak, HDFC Bank, they are seeing a bit of a sell-off. So my sense would be we'll have to see how long these recoveries last. My sense would be that any 10-15 point recovery should get sold into on Nifty as well as Bank Nifty. Individual stocks, Bata is a buy with a stop of 1420, target of 1485. Yes Bank is a sell with a stop of 140, target of 128. And Kotak is a sell with a stop of 1510, target of 1450.
Okay, well, for now, the mid-cap index has moved into the green. So there is some bit of action that you're seeing in the mid-cap end of trade for sure. Dish TV is up almost about 4% and metal stocks are up and about. GSPL, SAIL, the entire steel space is doing pretty well. Mitesh Thakkar, Prakash Gaba also with us. Mitesh, what would be the stocks on your radar now?
Yeah, I was looking at metal stock. I think some momentum is definitely coming in over there. And just to carry on to your point, I think if Jindal Steel crosses 168, 169, good chance that we are looking at 180 plus happening very soon over here. That about my stock calls right now are a buy on Motherson Sumi. It's moved slightly, but around 120 half, 121 buy with a stop at 118 half for targets of 126. And Infosys is a buy with a stop at 740 for targets of 768.
Okay, so going with two buys for the time being, those are Mitesh's calls. Prakash, how do you look at it? Any mid-caps on your radar? Because that's where the recovery seems to be a little more evident.
I don't know if Vedanta is mid-cap, but...
Large cap, but okay, let's go with it.
Vedanta, I think I like it on the long side. Metals are certainly looking good to me, and I feel that it can climb to levels closer to around this 178 zone. Maybe 180 is possible, stop below 168. Stocks that look weak is TCS, more of an exhaustion than a weakness, and I would say that maybe we can see a slide to around 2,180, stop about 2250. Looks like it should do that.
Okay, just looking at some more names. Today is a bit of a metals day. SAIL is now your top, sort of F&O gainer, up 3.5%. GSPL as well, up about 3%. And the other stock which is moving right now is Adani Power. That stock is at the high point of the morning. Ashwini, thoughts on any of the steel stocks? Anything that you would want to buy?
See, they are not outperformers. From lower levels, there is a bit of buying, but I don't think steel is getting into any sort of bull market. So at higher levels, you want to look at getting out of metal stocks instead of getting in.
Okay, all right, gentlemen. We'll leave it on that note. Thanks for the calls. We will connect with you through the course of the day. So Anuj, I mean, any thoughts here? Because there's very clear underperformance from the banks today, and that's the basic bugbear. And then you have individual cases. I mean, look at the pressure on something like Indiabulls Housing Finance. They've done what was needed to be done to hopefully get that license in, but the market has so many question marks on some of these groups and some of these stocks.
I think look, my sense is the market's ability right now to deal with some of these is just not there, and the market doesn't want to deal with it. The market doesn't want to take that risk. I think even something like a Yes Bank, it's very crucial, poised at a very crucial level though at 52-week low, but could be interesting if it sort of defends that 52-week low. But again, some of the same stocks have started to show decline, like Jain Irrigation, Birla Soft, Suzlon has started to decline once again. So I don't know. I mean, it's not a market which is breaking down. Like yesterday, whole day you were talking about the market being in the green, and then at 2:30 we had that decline.
Yeah.
Today, perhaps it works the other way around. The market keeps spending the day on the downside today, and in the last hour you have a bit of a pullback. But whatever said and done, like the point we were making in the morning as well, this market's not giving you comforting signals, especially in the broader market. And one of the two has to happen: either the broader market catches up, or the market becomes a bit broad, or you have a bit of a decline sitting in for the narrow market as well. The 20-day moving average is 11,750 on the Nifty. I don't know if that's where you want to go once for the Nifty.
Usually in the past, at least I've noticed that some of these situations where there are debt issues and mid-caps fall precedes a big, waterfall decline in the mid-cap space. Is that something that you're worried about?
The only problem is mid-caps have already fallen so much. How much more? But there's clearly issue with some of the stocks. I think look at Indiabulls now, Sonia. It's down 6% now. I think India Cements. We thought that there was a positive news on India Cement, right?
Yeah, because there was a promoter releasing pledge, but the market's just not interested.
Look at that stock. It's down about 3.5% right now. So it's. I don't know. It's a bit of a churning going on, I think, in the broader market. And for the index, it's once again down to just 3 or 4 stocks. And today, by the way, even TCS is corrected. So that's also not helping.
By the way, Lakshmi Vilas Bank is down 4.5%. So we're talking about Indiabulls Housing Finance falling 6%. LVB is also down 5%. I mean, that's the screen telling you that there's some nervousness, perhaps.
That screen telling you that the market thinks that perhaps there's a fresh question mark on whether that merger will go through or not. So obviously, down about 4.5% on that.
Okay, well, let's move on then. The PI industry stock has hit a 52-week high. After reporting its fourth quarter results a few weeks ago, the stock is up around 25% so far this year. Let's find out what's happening with the sector itself. Mayank Singhal, the MD and CEO of PI Industries, joins us on the phone line to talk about that. Mr. Singhal, good morning. We were chatting last afternoon as well, and we were talking about how the numbers have been pretty good in the quarter gone by. I mean, it's almost a 30% growth that you've seen as far as revenues are concerned. Is there any expectation of repeating that performance this year, or do you think that there are challenges in terms of, say, lower demand, perhaps monsoons not panning out as well as expected? Will that keep a lid on this 30% growth?
Hi, morning. I would say that if you look at the coming year, obviously, monsoons have a critical role to play, and PI has a pretty substantial size business in the domestic market. So obviously, the monsoon is how the markets perform in the domestic area. In terms of exports, I think we're very well poised with a good order book position, and we have a few plants and products which are going to get commercialized, and we are pretty certain that we should be targeting to achieve about 20% growth as stated earlier. And in the domestic business, we are looking to launch 3 to 4 products which would help us build our position better in the market.
Can you tell us a little more about some of these products, Mayank? And are they high-margin products? Because what FY19 did do was a kind of challenge operating margins to an extent for you. So I'm just trying to understand how the margin profile of the company is going to be this year, given these new launches.
Well, about FY19, as you know, there was a huge volatility in the markets in terms of pricing because of the region, again, not a strong weather situation, plus the China raw material situation, which obviously did put pressure on the margins. But I see that being better in the coming year. And looking at the growth rate and the investments that we will have to make both in the R&D and the capability for building these products in the market, we expect to maintain the margins as stated earlier.
So just to get a number to that, I mean, are you expecting the margin to be around 20%?
Well, about 20-21%, yes. as stated.
Okay, 20 to 21%. Just to follow up, since you mentioned investments into these new launches, how much additional money would you have to spend this year as these products come on stream?
Well, I don't have the numbers right now, but as you would understand, the revenue in the first year is pretty low as you're trying to set up the market and the product into the market, and investments in terms of building and customer interface is pretty high.
You do have, some plans to do some inorganic moves as well. I mean, earlier you had indicated that you're open to M&A opportunities to grow your business. What is the cash on the books currently, and have you been able to find any suitable acquisition target?
Well, the company is a debt-free company, and I don't have the exact number of the cash in the book today, but clearly, yes, we don't have any specific target, but we're definitely looking around to see what could be a good opportunity.
Okay. Anything in this calendar year itself?
Well, I can't answer that because we don't have anything right now in the target.
Okay. What about for exports? We were just talking to a couple of people from the metal sector, and they indicated that the challenges in markets like China continues. What is that market doing for you? I mean, how will it impact? How will the slowdown in demand impact revenue growth, etc.?
Well, if you look at the export markets in the ag sector, if you look at one is driven by the challenges which has happened in the chemical industry in China. Hence, India is becoming a very important player in the global chemical economy. On the ag sector, the global stock points have got better, and therefore there's higher demand from the global distributors and sellers of products. And we expect that the global demand in certain geographies are picking up and will continue to pick up, which will create a better demand.
Mayank, I just want to go back to the question on investments. What is the current cash in your books as of now? And I believe you also had certain new facilities coming up, some new plants. So by when are they ready? When do you commission them?
Well, as you mentioned, we're in the process of building two to three new plants. One has already got commissioned. One will get commissioned by the mid of this year. One by the end of the year, and one in the next mid-year. So those are all three on the way, which would enhance capacity and actual revenues.
This would be a capacity enhancement of how much? And once again, what is the investment pipeline for this year? The overall capex for this year?
Well, the investment is about 300 to 400 crores, as stated, and we'll continue to do that in the coming year too.
Okay, well, all the best. Mayank, we've run out of time, but thanks for joining us. The market is still under a bit of pressure. We'll